I'm not the bad guy for not eating with everyone looking at me. So I can eat when people are looking. I'm really not sure why. I just can't do it. I'm not sure if it's neurodivergency or something along those lines. But whenever I know someone is watching me eat, I get choking feeling and I can eat. It's bad enough that I can even really swallow when it's happened. At family events, the family will usually go into the dining room and I will grab my food from there, but then I will just sit in the kitchen and living room and eat there. It doesn't cause any issues. My family knows about it and they're just like, oh, whatever. We will talk when we all watch the game together. Or we'll get you if you need you. Recently, my family decided to have a July 4th dinner at my brother's house, and his wife and him will cook for it. The rest of the family gathers in the dining room, and they all sit to eat. Then this exchange happens. Me grabs my food and begins to walk towards the living room. Sister-in-law, where are you going? Me realizing that she probably doesn't want someone eating in her living room. Oh shit, sorry. Force of habit. I'll be in the kitchen. Sister-in-law. What? Why? Me. So I can eat my food? Oh, right. Robert told me about that. I would much rather have the whole family together if that's alright. Me, like, yeah, sure, no problem. I sit at the table and dining continues. I can't physically eat my food, so I just strike off conversations with my family around me. About 10 minutes after dinner started, my sister-in-law started asking everyone how they thought the food was. She looked at me and asked the same, like me. It looks really good. I can't wait for it later. Sister-in-law, then why don't you just eat it now? Because I physically can't? Oh, look, I worked for hours on this meal. Can you please just eat some of it and be polite for 5 seconds? I taken a bit aback and asked, did my brother explain this to you earlier? She said, yeah, but just because your family lets you be rude in their house doesn't mean you get to be rude in mine. So either eat the damn food or please leave. I tried to tell her how physically can't do that, but then she gets up, grabs my plate, and tells me to leave. The room is silent and I just don't bother and leave. Now my family is upset at her and my sister-in-law blew up my phone saying that she's in trouble with the family. And my brother is asking me to apologize and tell everyone to back off just to keep the peace. However, I don't really care. I don't ask my family to get mad at her, so why will me asking them to stop do anything? It's not my fault she wanted to act like that. Hell, I respected her house and left when she told me so. I said as much to my brother and he understand his wife was being unreasonable. But he's asking me as a brother for a favor. I still haven't decided what to do about all this. So I'm not the bad guy here. I'm not the bad guy for breaking up because of no social life. I broke up with the woman I'm in love with and feel confused. I met a woman on a dating app exactly 3 months ago, and we immediately hit it off in a major way, spending 3 or 4 days a week together from the very first date. About a month in, we had a huge fight fueled by a lot of bows, and she broke up with me because she thought I had crossed some lines. And I did, and agreed, and apologized profusely. But then 1 week later, she reached out, and we ended up getting back together, spending the amount of time together and generally having a great time being around each other. But the reason for that fight and the reason I broke up with her yesterday were the same. She doesn't want to have any sort of social life together with me, and I feel she didn't deal with that in a reasonable way at all. We have been spending days together, but when she had anything social to do, I had to bounce. We couldn't be together, but she would send me selfies on her party look, or jokingly tell me that the party was close to my home, or call me later at night when she arrived to tell me she missed me. That coupled with me, her resistance and acknowledging we were actually together, made me very insecure. I was spending most of my week over at her place, already being part of your daily routines and helping around the home, but not being able to participate in any areas of your life or her in mine because she didn't want to do my social stuff either. Made me very insecure about spending so much energy on something so apparently flimsy. Saturday, the same thing happened again. I left her place in the morning to attend a course, and I had a party to go to afterwards. She also had a party to go to in the evening, so we'll agree to see how our day went and maybe see each other again. But then she sends me a selfie and teases me about how close the party is to where I live. And I basically tell her that it doesn't matter because she's not gonna invite me or Sam over anyway, and that I would like to focus on my party and we'll talk later. I decide to call her late at night, and she was still at her party. Tells me she doesn't want to talk to me, and that it seems we have a date every Saturday to argue over the same things. I hang up and decide that's that. I broke up with her saying that I tried, but I can't deal with being in this relationship limbo in which we're together but we are not. She called me at 4 a.m., but I was sleeping, and in the morning she said she didn't want to talk. She just wanted me to send her things over, which I did, then proceeded to talk to me anyway. Then she wasn't ashamed of me, and that it was unfortunate that I thought she teased me on purpose, but I could do what I wanted. That she didn't want to be together anymore either. I end the conversation telling her that I love being with her and want to be with her, but this is not doing me well, and that if one day she feels like she can be in this relationship for real, my doors are open. She doesn't answer this, but proceeds to send me pics of her cats as if nothing was happened. And that's where we left it. I'm feeling crushed. I already miss her, and the insecurity in me is screaming that maybe I should have been more patient. But I also know that I didn't want to feel that level of insecurity anymore, no matter how much I like her. I don't know what to do with myself now. So I broke up with girlfriend I'm very much in love with because she hides me from her life and herself from mine. I'm at the bad guy for rescinding my niece's job offer because I don't trust my husband around her. My husband and I are having issues. On numerous occasions, he's compared us getting married to why you should never go grocery store while hungry. He says it's when he thinks I'm not around. For context, my husband inherited a large amount from his dad, but his dad only started his business when my husband was in his mid-20s. We met when I was 23 and he was 25. At that time, his family was in debt and he had fallen business of his own. And no, I wasn't his type. He likes olive-skinned girls with light brown hair and blue eyes, basically the exact female version of his own features. He also liked girls who were on the short side, with ballerina figures. Meanwhile, I was 5'10" and very average looking. However, considering he sprinted after my car to ask me out, I thought that he was attracted to me. But later on he told me he was lonely and his girlfriend, exactly his type, had just left him. So we date and he proposes within a year. We now have 2 grown kids, and for years our marriage, while not passionate, was okay. The problem started 6 years ago after his dad died and my husband inherited a ton of money. He started suggesting Botox. He bought houses in his name only and will tell me to shut up around friends. He would also tell me that he hoped I know I wasn't entitled to inherited assets. Then a few months ago, he locked himself in his room for weeks. I discovered I had been spending in a single month twice to annual budget he gives me on a mistress, who was his exact type. And she left him after his friend told her about how he was sleeping with other girls. He fell into depression over her and kept texting her that the other girls mean nothing. He finally tells me that the mistress endlessly pursued him. He said he was a sex addict, and addicts never stop being addicts. He told me he wanted to stay married, but his temptation was hard on him. My niece got hired by his company before this happened. I encouraged her to apply, but now I'm just deeply insecure. My niece is 23 years old and a dancer. She fits his type, with no exception of being on the polar side. I was already being tortured by other employees, getting flirty with my husband, and just can't trust my husband around her. I don't think my marriage can survive another affair, and I've seen my niece smile at my husband in a way that could be seen as overly friendly. She has also made comments about how she wishes she was rich like us. I don't think she's evil or anything. I just don't want to risk either of them being tempted. I told my husband to pull the offer. He shrugged. My niece and sister are very upset, saying she had put down a deposit for an apartment and turned down other offers. Asked my husband to allow me to reimburse her for expenses, but he refused and looked down his nose on me. Am I the bad guy for trying to protect my marriage? Am I the bad guy for losing my passport to avoid babysitting on my vacation? I still live at home. My sister is married and has 2 kids. Whenever she comes over to visit, my parents and her stick me with the kids. This wouldn't be a problem except she doesn't visit for an evening. She will come for a week. And for that week, I'm an unpaid nanny. If we go out to a restaurant, I have to entertain them because my mom needs to talk to my sister and brother-in-law. You get the picture, yeah? My parents decided that since this was my last summer before I became an adult, we will go to Disney to celebrate my graduation. I asked who was going, and they said it was just 3 of us. But when we got to the airport, my sister and her family were there. Strangely enough, they were also going to Disneyland. I went into my backpack and grabbed my passport. I put it in my sock. When we got to the international security, I couldn't find it. We looked anywhere. I had to Uber home and I missed my flight. Oh well, I get to stay home by myself for a week of peace and quiet. My parents were very mad at me for losing my passport. The money they spent on my flight and entrance was wasted. Oh damn. My mom and sister have both been posting about how hard it is to be at Disneyland with 2 little ones. They both posted that I ruined the vacation by being so thoughtless. My dad says he knows why I did and he understands, but he says I should have let him know so he didn't waste money. He said he would have gone along with my ruse. I feel bad about wasting money, but I have been to Disneyland before, and I will go again later by myself or with friends. So, am I the bad guy for losing my passport and to avoid babysitting on my vacation? Am I the bad guy for telling my sister-in-law that she didn't actually run a marathon? I've been a runner for such a long as I can remember. I absolutely love it. I want running to continue growing as a competitive activity and as a just for fun hobby. I encourage and support newcomers to running, but recently I encountered a situation where I felt gatekeeping was necessary. My sister-in-law got into running last year, and she absolutely fell in love with it as well. Since I'm also a runner, I decided I could connect with her on the topic. I wanted to hear about her runs, her progress, and maybe offer some helpful guidance if she wanted. So the family gathering, I asked her about running. After a bit of conversation, she mentioned to me that she ran a marathon. I was quite surprised. She ran a marathon after only getting into running a year ago. That's amazing. What incredible dedication and drive, I thought to myself. I was about to praise her for this incredible accomplishment, but then she explained this marathon in detail. It was a virtual marathon that she started late last year and apparently completed this year. Basically, it was an up-paced event when you tally up your running distance until you reach 42.2 kilometers. I checked slightly and told her that it's great she totaled 42.2 kilometers in that time frame, but it doesn't count as a marathon. I told her that the marathons have time limits for competition, usually 6 to 8 hours. If they didn't, then I could claim multiply ultramarathons via the aggregate distance I run in my life. It's dangerous and, in my opinion, undermines those who have actually run a marathon. She didn't take this well. She called me a bad guy, a bully, an elitist, and a few other things. I apologize for upsetting her, but I stand by what I said. She didn't run a marathon. I didn't press the subject at all and left it all that. She wouldn't speak to me the rest of the gathering. My wife agrees with me. Despite not being a runner herself, she said her sister overreacted. Their mother said that I should have just let my sister-in-law believe that she ran a marathon. Maybe, I don't know, she is 23 years old without any impairments. Validating her marathon will feel similar to lying to a child to boost their confidence. The difference is she's not a child, so I'm not the bad guy. I'm not the bad guy for not giving my sister the wedding gift she wanted because of how she treated my girlfriend. My girlfriend Naomi and I have been together for over a decade. My younger sister Sarah and my girlfriend have never been super close, but are friendly when we got together, or I guess they were. When Sarah was in high school, Naomi helped her out with some personal things. Sarah got married a few days ago. When Sarah announced her engagement to the family, she asked Naomi to be a bridesmaid, which surprised us a little bit, but Naomi was very excited because she's never gotten to do it and probably won't have the chance. I want to be clear, there was no suggestion from either of us Sarah should ask her. It was about 2 seconds after she told us she was engaged. She said that she was so grateful to Naomi for the help when she was younger, and Naomi was very touched. A few weeks later, Sarah posted her bridesmaid proposals brunch. Naomi wasn't there. Sarah never said it to either of us faces directly, but clearly she'll change her mind. Naomi was hurt but said she understood because she hasn't expected the ask anyway. She would have been fine. But then a few months later, Sarah asked Naomi to go to the bachelorette party and also come get ready today off with her friends and bridesmaids. Same thing, Naomi says yes and even help through her find a good place to go and rental. A month and a half before the wedding, I'm talking to my mom on the phone and she mentioned that Sarah's at her bachelorette. No mention of it to Naomi. Now I'm kind of pissed because Naomi was clearly very hurt at Sue invites and not being sort of ghosted. A week before the wedding, Naomi texted Sarah and asked about getting ready and hair and makeup. And Sarah responds acting confused and basically tells her nicely to just come with me. Then I was really pissed. Sarah wanted this really expensive baking mixer for a long time, and I got it for her from her wedding gift. My mom had ruined the surprise, so she expected it. But after everything with Naomi, I felt like being petty, and I cut her a check instead and returning the mixer. A few days after the wedding, Sarah texted me saying, I don't know how to ask this, but what happened to the mixer? And I responded, I don't know how to ask, but what happened to treating my girlfriend like a freaking human being? Now my brother and my new brother-in-law and my mom are all texting me saying, what the hell? And that's I'm ruining her happy time. Naomi, for her part, says I probably shouldn't have done that, but she feels a little vindicated. So I'm not the bad guy here.